What are you looking at, kitty kitty? She's staring at me. I think she wants to kill me.
Yeah, all cats want to murder the world. I'm convinced of it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, come on, Facebook.
All right. Stream
All
looks
right.
great.
Sweet.
Not lagging or
We'll
anything.
be reviewing Crash Bandicoot.
God, I can't wait till this weekend. I'm so freaking tired.
Yeah, it's been one of those weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Which I had my 4th of July holiday was on Monday. So I at least had that cuz we were originally going to have an event on July 4th, but
Mhm.
with all the cases and everything spiking, we postponed it.
Yeah.
But I don't know, today was one of those weird days. It's
Yeah.
just like everyone was needing something and everyone needed it like right at that moment. I'm like, guys, you got to work with me a bit here. I can only do one thing at a time.
It's been so freaking hot and just gross and rainy and dreary. It's like it just makes me not
Yeah.
want to do anything.
It's raining here now. It's
Yeah.
been raining like every day.
Dude, it's been raining here for I mean July 4th it rained. I think it might have been a little bit of sunshine on Sunday and then it's just been raining ever since. Friday was a great day though. We went to the museum. Went and had Burger down in Biloxi. That was good.
So nice they named it twice.
Yeah. Dude, you got to have a burger, man. They're so good.
Burger.
Burger.
Burger actually does sound really good.
I got a flyer on my front door a little while ago. The front office, they're doing food truck Fridays at the apartments now. So you're going to have a food truck, a taco truck at the front office at 5 o'clock. So I'm like, well, I know what I'm eating for dinner on Friday.
Heck yeah. That's a great concept, Food Truck Friday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we started getting like different food trucks around here. So hopefully they'll have a different one every week. They got this one wing food truck here. Oh, man, I did his shirts for him, and now I can't remember what the name of it is. I got the card at work, man. But, dude, his wings are so freaking good. They're the best wings I've ever had.
That sounds amazing, actually.
Yeah, he was at the that last show we did, the concert we put on last year. He was there, and, dude, I know he made some money that night because the line to his truck was easily 10 people deep the entire night.
That's awesome.
So I know he probably made several $1,000s that night.
Did I ever tell you about the Waffle House food truck?
No.
So there's a Waffle House food truck.
Like we don't have enough Waffle Houses. They have to have trucks now.
Yeah.
They'll bring it to you.
So there's a Waffle House food truck that's based out of Atlanta. They came to Pensacola sometime last year. It was during the summer, I remember. And they were outside of Perfect Plane. It's the bar that we had the filmmaker showcase at.
Yeah, I like that place.
I think it was that Saturday night, they had to close their truck at 11 o'clock because they ran out of food.
Oh, that was one of my jokes. One of my very first bits I ever did was if you come to Mississippi and you're lost, people will give you directions according to Waffle House. Like you go down,
take a right at the Waffle House.
Go down to the third Waffle House, take a right. Then you're gonna see 2 more Waffle Houses and a Dollar General. And then you turn left there. You see 3 more Dollar Generals. Then you're gonna turn, and then the next Waffle House you come to, that's where you want to go. I have too many Waffle. I love dude. I have a Waffle House within walking distance.
Yeah.
And then up by the interstate, there's one on the south side of the interstate and one on the north side of the interstate. Within, I could throw a baseball from one Waffle House to the other.
Yeah,
Literally.
we had a similar situation where we had like a Waffle House on one side of the interstate, and then literally right on the other side is another Waffle House. One of them closed down recently, but
Uh,
I always thought that was funny.
oh, they don't close down here. They just keep popping up after every rainfall like mushrooms. Well, I'm good to go. I got all my tabs open. Everything's looking good. We have not lagged out yet on Twitch. Oh yeah,
Yep.
Staff Sergeant Sketch said he remembers that from his time at Keesler. So yeah, you know the Waffle House situation. I think there's a Waffle House outside of every single entrance to Keesler Air Force Base.
See.
Yeah, staying
Oh
in the
yeah,
parking
stand in
lot
the
of
parking
one.
lot of one, look left and see another, look to the right, same deal.
Yep. Good evening, Rampage. He's here.
Rampage.
All right. Well, we're good to go. I'll go ahead and get us started here.
Yep, I'm all set.
Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Do you like the show and you want to help support us? Do you want us to stay ad-free? Do you want extra episodes every month? Of course you do. Then head over to patreon.com/nerdcaveretro. Become a Patreon supporter of this very show. Greetings, programs, and welcome back to another edition of the Nerd Cave Retro Show. My name is Jason Robbins.
And my name is Derek Diamond.
We've gotten some good reviews for the Double Dragon commentary we did, and I think it's actually I set it to go available for the public. I think this morning or yesterday, sometime, I don't remember. But if you'd like to head over to our Patreon and give it a listen, it is at patreon.com/nerdcaveretro. And if you want early access to that stuff, you gotta be a part of the Patreon. But that being said, you have anything you want to add to that?
It was something.
Yeah, it was something.
I'll say that it was a commentary. We sat and we recorded it, but no, it was. I love the commentary tracks. You know, they're my favorite shows to do as part of this podcast, and we actually have a poll up on Patreon right now for you guys to decide our next commentary. I think it expires on Sunday. So for those who haven't voted yet, you still got some time. There are 4 choices. I believe it's Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Batman, Mask of the Phantasm, and I cannot remember the 4th one.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Come on, Killer Clowns. Love
We've
that
got
movie.
we got quite a few good choices for the next track. So if you're part of our Patreon, head over to patreon.com/nerdcaveretro and vote. If not, join patreon.com/nerdcaveretro so you can vote.
I might actually put the commentary track here on this feed. The only reason I don't like to do that is because it's so beefy, because it's like an hour and 45 minutes long, and we only have so much space every month, bandwidth for this show. So I'd like to, for now, I'm gonna keep it on the just on the Patreon feed. So you can actually take that RSS feed at Patreon and put it into your podcatcher of choice, and it'll pop up right in there for you.
Yeah, that's the cool thing, because I've got 2 other shows that I subscribe to on Patreon, and they do the same thing, because they do exclusive shows, ad-free shows. So it's a cool little feature.
Yeah. Anything you'd like to talk about before we go into the news tonight?
Not really. It's been kind of a light week, surprisingly, for me. I had Monday off for 4th of July. We've canceled all our events for now, just because of all the spikes in cases that have been going on. I think we're going to try and get that started back in the next week or so. But no, other than that, had kind of a chill weekend and Haven't done too much, so it's been kind of a boring week.
Yeah, I spent the 4th at a buddy of mine's house, Mike Dixon, who is a huge toy collector, and took some of my old toys over there on Saturday night, and he appraised a lot of them for me. And we did some interesting trades. I traded a Dianoga figure from the original Death Star playset because he was looking for one, and he lost an eBay auction for it and didn't know I had it, and I didn't know it was worth so much. So I traded that for a Mike Tyson's Punch-Out box. And so
Nice.
now I have 2 complete in-box versions of Punch-Out, the Mike Tyson's Punch-Out and just regular Punch-Out. So it's complete.
That's awesome.
And I got Gyromite in the box too, but I don't have a Rob, so I could still play it with the second controller, but and what's the point in that game without Rob?
Yeah.
I'd love
If
to
you
get
want Rob, you got to use it.
Yeah. But I don't know about you. I am certainly ready to move into the news for tonight.
Yeah, we got some good stuff to talk about.
From Nintendo.com, Donkey Kong Country swings onto Nintendo Switch Online this month. On July 15th, Donkey Kong, the Unstoppable King of Swing, returns to the Nintendo Switch system with his touchstone adventure, the classic Super Nintendo game Donkey Kong Country. With a Switch Online membership, you'll be able to join Donkey Kong, his pal Diddy Kong, and their trusty animal friends as they explore jungles, climb snow-capped mountains, and ride rollicking mine carts to hunt down their missing bananas from cruel gangs of Kremlings. In addition, the hard-hitting wrestling game Natsume Championship Wrestling is also joining the Super Nintendo system. And the Nintendo is getting the isometric action RPG The Immortal. And I'm actually kind of excited to play this. I might actually review this game, The Immortal, because I remember seeing this in Nintendo Power, and it reminded me a lot of Shadowgate. Just sort of the aesthetic of the game, and I really want to try it out because I had a lot of fun playing Shadowgate when I reviewed it for the show here. So I think I'm going to do Immortal when that drops.
Nice. Yeah, adding Donkey Kong Country is really cool. You know, it's one of the best games for the Super Nintendo.
Oh, yeah.
I'm curious about this, the Natsume Championship Wrestling.
Yeah, I
I'll
remember
have
this,
to,
but I
because
never
I've never
played
heard
it.
of it.
I remember it, but I never played it. And so I'm interested in that as well.
Yeah, because I know we've got the Retromania
Yeah.
Championship Wrestling game coming out fairly soon. So
Yes, really soon it's supposed to be coming out. We're going to have a copy to give away whenever it comes out, too.
yeah. I mean, I feel like a broken record saying this, but I just wish Nintendo would add more. It's
Yeah.
like they say July game updates, but
Mm-hmm.
do you guys update it every month?
I wish they would. Just it doesn't even have to be 2 to 3 games, just one game for each system every month. And I'd be happy
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah. But I'll be excited to play Donkey Kong Country again. I've actually been playing through a lot of games on the Switch because I did another playthrough of Link's Awakening.
I need to
Then
get
I beat
that.
the. Yeah, you knew. You do. I beat. Well, I went through Encore mode of Sonic Mania again to get all the Chaos Emeralds. So I'm looking for something different to play on the Switch. So when these drop, I'll definitely play through some Donkey Kong Country and try out the Natsume Championship Wrestling game.
Yeah, every time I'm on my Switch the last few days, I keep seeing Derek Diamond pop up. It's like Derek Diamond, Sonic Mania.
Yep.
Like I know what he's playing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been fun to go back through though.
Yeah.
Let's see. Our next story comes to us from PCGameSN.com. 3D Sen is an emulator that converts NES games to 3D, and it's now on Steam. This looks really cool.
Yeah, it does.
3D Sen doesn't work any magic on your NES ROMs. Instead, 70 supported games have been custom tweaked to convert those NES sprites and backgrounds into 3D environments. If you played 3D Dot Game Heroes on PS3, it's a similar effect. Everything plays exactly as it would on any NES emulator, just with a wild new visual treatment. This is a commercial product in Steam Early Access for $8.99 and naturally includes no actual game ROMs. You'll need to provide those yourself. Paid emulation software has generally been legal going as far back as Bleem in the early 2000s. And 3D Sin only makes use of homebrew games in its promotional materials on Steam. There's a couple of photos on this article, and it looks really cool. I don't know why I think of it, but it gives me a little bit of a Paper Mario vibe
Mm-hmm.
when I look at the Mario Brothers 3 photo that they have here, because it has kind of like that 2.5D, um, almost like a cartoonish kind of look.
Yeah. I'm interested in this. I've been watching this for the last year or so. The guy that's been developing this, and I've seen a couple of screenshots from games like Castlevania, Kid Icarus, and dude, it just looks so cool. And for $8.99, that's a no-brainer. Especially
Oh
all you
yeah.
got to do is add your own ROMs. I have ROMs out the butt.
Have to try out some Mario Brothers 3.
Yeah, that's what I want.
That'd be
I
great.
want to play Castlevania on this so badly. I bet I've seen some of the screenshots from the Castlevania, and man, it looks so cool.
That's exciting stuff.
Yeah, it is. There's another from NintendoLife.com. That's something we've been talking about over the last year or so. The Polymega will launch for real this November, or earlier if we're lucky. The Polymega seems like it's been coming out forever. The console aims to be the only retro gaming device you'll need, offering support for a wide range of systems, including NES, Super Nintendo, Mega Drive, Neo Geo CD, and even Sony PlayStation. It's hit a few delays over the past few years, but beta units are now out in the wild and performance is impressive. A second beta phase was due to happen recently, but a production issue outside of the control of the Polymega team has delayed things. The second batch of beta units is expected to ship next week, so if you enrolled in that program, you might be getting an email soon. Let's see. The Polymega team has now penciled in November 15th, 2020 as the proposed launch date for the base unit and the 4 announced modules, which means it will be around a year late. However, it has been stated that this date could potentially come forward. So that's the date they're aiming for, but it's possible it could be coming out sooner. And this thing looks really cool.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to get my hands on one of these.
You and me both.
I think that would make a great Christmas present.
It's very sleek looking. I like the look of it.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, it doesn't look very fancy. It's just like a black and gray box, but man, if you can play all those cartridges, all those discs, sign me up.
HDMI, dude. It's like, why would you not get this?
Yeah. No, I mean this is a really cool thing, and also it's been revealed that support for Famicom carts could be on the table, because someone wrote on Twitter, said, "I wish you could support Famicom carts," and Polymega responded with, "News on this soon." So could be another edition as well.
Yeah, Rampage said that Bleem was his first emulation experience. I don't remember the Bleem. Maybe I just wasn't. I don't know. I wasn't in the emulation at the time, but. So the Atari VCS is $379. No, thank you.
Wow.
Yeah, we've been talking about that piece of garbage for the last couple of years too, and that's not. No, thank you.
It's all just a figment of our imagination.
Yes.
As SpongeBob once said, imagination.
This
all
next thing looks so cool.
I know. From NintendoLife.com, Sega's new Astro City micro console is packed with 36 arcade gems. And there's also a trailer attached for those who want to check it out. Let's see. You may have assumed that with the release of the Mega Drive Mini and the upcoming Game Gear Micro, Sega has now had its fill of tiny consoles based on old hardware, but you would be wrong. The company has just announced that it is miniaturizing one of its most iconic arcade cabinets to create the Astro City Mini, a desktop console which, like the Neo Geo Mini, comes with its own screen and is preloaded with titles. Special controller is also being produced. So 36 games will be making the cut, some of which include Alien Syndrome, Alien Storm, Golden Axe, Dark Edge, Virtua Fighter, and Altered Beast.
The one thing I like about this is that it's the original arcade ROMs that are going to be running in it, not the ports to like the Sega Genesis or anything like that. This is strictly the arcade ROMs, and that is why I want to get one of these.
And there's several photos on the article that kind of showcase how small this thing is. And there's even a photo with two guys from Sega. One of them's holding it, and it looks pretty tiny, but the article says it does come with a controller. So if I get one of these, I'll definitely be using the controller. But this looks really, really cool.
It's about twice the size of these these old these Target arcade titles I got, like the Centipede and the Cubert. It looks like it's about twice the size of that.
Yeah. But no, this is really cool.
Yeah. Is this the last story? Yeah, it is.
It's our last story.
And this is actually an email from I Am the Rampage, who is in the chat room right now. From Forbes.com. What are you doing reading Forbes, man? Are you that rich? You're reading Forbes? Alex Winter hints at change of plans for Bill and Ted Face the Music. Let's see. Since the COVID-19 pandemic is continuing to rage, this weekend saw neither the opening weekend of Universal and Illumination's Minions, The Rise of Gru, nor Solstice Studios' Unhinged. The plan, liable to change at any moment, is for Unhinged to open alongside a 10th anniversary reissue of Inception, with Sony's The Broken Hearts Gallery aiming for August 2nd, Chris Nolan's Tenet opening August 12th, and Disney Dizzes? What is that?
Disney Diz?
Yeah. Mulan opting for August 21st. Orion's Bill and Ted Face the Music was initially slated for August 21st, but moved first to August 14th and then to 28th concurrently with the Tenet date changes. Alex Winter chimed in on Twitter, exclaiming, quote, "None of us are willing to release the movie in a way that requires people to put themselves at risk. More news as we have it." I don't want to put too much on emphasis on a single tweet, but let's see. Alex Winter has been busy over the last decade directing a slew of acclaimed documentaries, blah, blah, blah. But this is kind of a long article, but basically what it's saying is Bill and Ted might actually be arriving on DVD, HBO Max, and other, I guess, VOD really soon instead of being out in the theater, which I'd rather them just push it back until the theaters are open. I mean, I know they want to make money, they want to release it, but I want to see this in the theater.
Yeah, same. It's just one of those things that, and I feel like we've been hearing stories every week now about movies getting pushed back and dates being changed because the pandemic is rapidly changing.
Yeah.
Because I know I sent you a text earlier today about the new Halloween was pushed back a full year.
Yeah. And I'm okay with that. I mean, if they, because that's something I want to see in the theater, and I'd rather see it at Halloween time. And if the theaters are going to be closed during October and I can't go watch my horror movies, I'll watch them at home, but I'd rather watch, ones I've seen a million times at home, and I'd rather go to the theater and watch the new Halloween movie. And I'd much rather watch Bill and Ted on the big screen. But, I understand they got to make money, but at the same time, it's like you don't know what the hell is going to happen with this freaking disease, man. It's just wreaking havoc on everything.
Yeah, just when we thought it was starting to die down a bit, it came back.
It's like a bad rash. It just won't go away.
Pretty much. I mean, when you've got my home state adding like 10,000 cases a day.
You're going to see me at the Alabama border with a saw.
You and Bugs Bunny both.
Yeah. No, not you, kitty. So that's it for the news. Let's go ahead and move into this month in video game history. July of 1980, Atari Inc. releases the Cold War-inspired Missile Command, one of my favorite games of all time.
Missile Command.
I love Missile Command. I almost bought the new version of it on the Switch the other night, but I was like, no, I got too many other things to play right now.
Yeah, it's something that I'm going to get around to eventually. I've never played Missile Command, but I know how much you've talked about it and everything, so I'm going to give it a shot at some point. That should be what I honestly play on the Switch,
Yeah,
since I'm looking for new things to play.
I think with the dual stick or with the analog stick, and it's just going to be such a much better version of it than like I love the original Atari 2600 version of it, but the original arcade version was the trackball, which was really cool. But it was weird because it was set up backwards. Like the trackball was for the right hand and the missiles were on the left hand. So I want to play a version of it where for a righty.
Yeah. In July of 1981, Nintendo releases Donkey Kong, which introduces the characters of Donkey Kong and Mario and sets the template for the platformer genre. It is also one of the first video games with an integral storyline. To me, one of the most important video games in the history of video gaming, because it it set the template for the platformer genre and also introduced the most iconic video game character of all time.
I still, after last week, was it last week we were talking about it or week before? I wonder why Donkey Kong didn't become Mario's mortal enemy like, Koopa did, King Koopa.
Yeah.
That's weird.
That'd be interesting to look up.
Donkey Kong became a hero, even though he tried to kidnap Pauline.
Yeah. Well, it was interesting how in Donkey Kong Country they explained that Cranky Kong, who's Donkey Kong's grandfather, was the original Donkey Kong who kidnapped Pauline. So it's like they got away from the villain vibe, like, oh, this is a different Donkey Kong.
Okay. I've been playing that recently, Donkey Kong Country, on my Super Nintendo.
Such a great game.
So good. July 23rd of 1985, Commodore releases the Amiga 1000 personal computer, the first in the Amiga family. It was not widely available until 1986. I still want to get my hands on an Amiga.
God, it looks so 80s.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Still got to watch that documentary, too.
When I look at things like the Amiga 1000, it makes me think that if I ever have like a decent sized house where I can have a room dedicated to collectibles, it would be cool to have like an Amiga or any type of old like 80s technology, like a computer or something like that, and then get different ones from like the early 90s, mid 90s, and do like a progression of gaming consoles or like progression of computers.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd love to have the Apple II like I used to have in my third grade computer class, playing hop on and play some Hangman and some Oregon Trail. That'd be fun.
The old Hewlett-Packard.
Oh, Hewlett-Packard.
On July 10th, 1987, Technos Japan releases Double Dragon to arcades, distributed internationally by Taito.
Love Double Dragon. And it's weird because it was distributed in the arcades by Taito, but Midwest to the home consoles.
Yeah. It didn't make for a very good movie.
No, it did not.
But the game is fun.
That movie was awful. Oh my god. I thought Mario Brothers was bad, but man, Mario Brothers was Godfather 2 compared to Double Dragon.
I'm glad you said that because I agree 1000%. My thing with Mario Brothers is that it's bad, but there are some moments like it's so bad that it's funny. Double Dragon is just awful to watch.
It was still enjoyable. Like I could watch Super Mario Brothers and get some joy and get some enjoyment out of it, but Double Dragon was just bad. And all I did was like, when is this going to be over? Like it was torture getting through that thing.
Yeah.
And I love bad movies, man. Like I'll sit and watch some bad movies, but that was a test of one's will.
I've got to add that to the rotation of defending bad movies for our next panel.
Yes, you do. July 20th of 1988, Capcom releases Bionic Commando for Nintendo NES/Famicom, based on the 1987 arcade game of the same title. This is another game that I've been wanting to go back and actually review. This is one of the few Capcom games. I actually have this game, but I've never really sat down and played it. And I remember it at the time, and I think I may have played it back then, but I think I didn't like it because it was kind of a weird mechanic. Like, there's no jump ability in the game. It's the bionic arm that you have to use. And then I know they did a big remake of it for like the Xbox 360 or something around 2010. So I want to go back and play this because, like, you can't go wrong with a Capcom game back in the day.
Well, it says here this was the first game to feature a grappling gun/hook, which later appeared in games such as Earthworm Jim and Tomb Raider.
Yeah. Well, that was the hook for the game. Is he's got a grappling hook to do the platforming, which is kind of weird when you have a platforming game but no jumping ability.
Yeah. Let's see. In July of 1994, LucasArts releases TIE Fighter for DOS, Macintosh, and Microsoft Windows.
Good game. Really good game.
Yeah, this is one of those, I've mentioned it several times, but games like TIE Fighter, Dark Forces, I remember watching my uncle play after school when I was a kid.
See, that's
Still
what
need to try them out.
I want a Dark Forces remake. Like, total redo like they did with Resident Evil. Just give me that first-person Star Wars. I don't need to be a Jedi. Just give me a gun and give me stormtroopers to shoot, and I'll be happy.
I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't.
Because every time they do something,
what do they have to lose by doing that?
Like, oh, let's make another game based around a Jedi. Like, okay, Jedi are cool, but give me something else, man. Like, Star Wars is so rich with stuff that you could do with it, but it's like they're so, like, they have blinders on, man.
I've been saying that even with the movies or, any type of Disney Plus series they could do. I wish they would get away from the Jedi or Force users for a bit.
You know how badly I want a Mandalorian game just based, use the Red Dead Redemption engine and just give me a game like that, but base it on the Mandalorian. You have
Red Dead Mandalorian.
I have money waiting for that. Like, they already have my money. They just need to make it.
Yeah, no, I would get it too.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be great.
Let's see. July 5th of 1996, Sega and Sonic Team released Nights into Dreams for the Sega Saturn. Now, this, I have no clue what this is.
So I remember hearing a little bit about this game. I never played it as a kid, but there was a Nights into Dreams comic book that was also made by Archie Comics.
Mm-hmm.
They made the original run of the Sonic comic books that I read for years. The story was pretty intriguing, but the game I never played, and this is one that I might look to review in the next few weeks because it's one that I was curious about as a kid, but I never had a Saturn, so I never had the chance to play it. So I would I'm gonna look into seeing if I can find one because I would love to actually play it because there are other Sega properties besides Sonic, and to me this is it didn't really get to the level of Sonic, obviously, but to me, like, when I think of Sega, Nights into Dreams is like the second or third game that I think of.
Yeah. I mean, this screenshot looks like there's a lot going on the screen.
Yeah. No, it does. It does. Man, if you scroll down, you'll see the optional 3D controller for the Sega Saturn. It looks interesting.
Optional 3D controller. Oh, that is, what is that?
Yeah.
That looks like a waffle maker.
It does. Oh, man.
I'm
going to look at
worse than the original Xbox controllers. Remember the big canned ham controllers for the original Xbox?
Oh, yeah.
What were they thinking back then?
Those things were like 3 times the size of my hands.
I know. This thing literally, look at it. It looks like a waffle maker.
And see, it all comes back to Waffle House.
Yeah. Waffle House. Waffle House sounds good.
It
Oh,
does.
you just had to throw this in there, didn't you? Get this out. Get that out of the way.
So to close us out for this month in video game history, July
Boo.
7th of 2000, Square releases Final Fantasy IX for the PlayStation. And I bring this up because you should go check out Brandon Rutledge's YouTube channel to check out our retro gaming trivia. It was fun.
Oh man, I had an entire run of how much I hate Final Fantasy in that episode. I think you guys will enjoy.
No, it was really fun, and it was fun trolling Brandon a little bit with the whole Hugh Jackman thing. There it is.
But that brings us to the end of this month in video game history. Derek has some shout outs.
So as always, we like to shout out our awesome patrons over at patreon.com/nerdcaveretro. We want to shout out Armez Jackson, Xblade07, Daniel Salmon, John Jekyll, aka Mixmaster, Carlos Longoria, Staff Sergeant Sketch, and Randy Bailey. Thank you guys so much for keeping the lights on for us. And if you keep us at the $50 level, we will keep doing fun commentary tracks like Double Dragon. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, there's a poll up right now for our next commentary track. So if you're a part of Patreon and you haven't voted yet, go check that out. If you want to be a part of our Patreon, head over to patreon.com/nerdcaveretro, and you get to decide on our next commentary track.
And hopefully I'll stop dropping stuff. Sorry. You're like
No,
trying
you're
to
good.
talk and all you hear is such an
No, you're
idiot.
good.
All right, here's the music. This is what Derek's going to be talking about tonight. That's jaunty.
I'm not going to lie, if you just keep playing that on loop for the rest of the show, I'm good with it.
I can if you want me to.
No, that's not what the people came here to see. But no, so my review this week is the original Crash Bandicoot, which is a platform video game developed by Naughty Dog and published by Sony Computer Entertainment for the PlayStation. It was released in North America in September of 96 and in Europe in November of 96. So well, first of all, this was the second half of the tie of my Patreon poll of what you guys wanted me to review. And I wanted to go back and play the original Crash Bandicoot because I had never beaten it. And similar to what Jason was talking about last week with Mega Man, I was introduced to Crash Bandicoot through Crash Bandicoot 2 because I remember I didn't have a PlayStation, but my uncle did. And I was watching him play Crash Bandicoot 2, and I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. So I tried it. I liked it, kept playing it, and then the third one came out, played that. But then I didn't go back until later, until after I had played through the third one to go play the original. And my thoughts on it are kind of similar to what Jason was saying about Mega Man last week, is that it almost feels like a beta version of Crash Bandicoot 2 because the core mechanic of the gameplay is still there, but there are a lot of accessories and abilities that you don't have in the first one. So like in Crash Bandicoot 2, the biggest addition is the slide attack, where Crash slides on the ground to attack enemies. You can also use it to jump from one like platform to another. So say if like you're on a platform and the second one's just a little bit too far away, you can slide almost like on midair and you jump and you can make it to the second platform. You don't have that in Crash Bandicoot 1, which is actually quite the challenge because this was a game that I was never able to beat when I was a kid.
Mm.
But as I let you know a week or two ago, I finally did beat it. Here very recently for the first time, and man, this game is hard. It is extremely hard. It starts out easy enough because there are actually a few intro levels to help you get your feet wet and kind of get in the swing of things. But man, when you get to the last few, it is rough. There was one, and I'm gonna relive this in my
Hmm.
nightmares probably for the rest of my life. It's called the High Road, where you jump from pieces of broken bridge like one to another.
Mm-hmm.
I went into this level with nearly 30 lives. I game overed at least 3 or 4 times
Wow.
before I beat, like, this game is hard. And what's what's interesting, like, I like it, but I don't like it, is it's all about precision when it comes to this platforming game, because if you're trying to jump on, say, like a box, if you just hit the edge of the box,
Mm-hmm.
you fall off. Like, you have to land in the middle.
Yeah.
So it's all about
I
precision.
think that because I remember this was 97 and I had just gotten my first apartment and my roommate had a PlayStation and she was we worked together and she was getting divorced and she got the PlayStation in the divorce. So she gave it to
Good
me.
for her.
Yeah, so I had the PlayStation for a while. This was the only game I had for it and uh, you know, I played it a little bit, but it just really, I don't know, it really didn't capture my imagination at the time. It's really why I never got a PlayStation. There wasn't enough on the original PlayStation to pry me away from, the computer gaming I was doing at the time. And, it just I wasn't into these sorts of platforming games anymore. I was more into like strategy games and dungeon crawlers and things like that. So there was just I don't know, there just wasn't enough. Especially this game, there wasn't enough to really pull me into the PlayStation ecosystem until PlayStation 2. That was really when I got into it.
Yeah, and the thing with Crash, and we've hinted at it a little bit here on the show, but I feel like Crash was Sony's attempt at creating a mascot type of character like
Mm-hmm.
a Mario or a Sonic. And the games are fun in their own right, but to me, if I want a good platformer, I'm going to play Mario.
Yeah.
Or heck, still, I'm going to play Sonic, even though it's a different type of platformer. But the Crash games, I had fun with them as a kid, but playing through them as an adult, like, I still like them, but I'm not like, if I never played a Crash game again, I don't think I would lose any sleep over it,
Yeah.
just because it didn't have, to me, it doesn't have that same lasting appeal.
Yeah.
If you grew up on a PlayStation and that's all you had, then chances are you're a Crash fan. But it kind of is what it is. Like, they're not bad games by any stretch, and this one's not a bad game either. It's just,
This is just that weird era of gaming where we went into the 3D space, and I really feel like the only games that really got it right were Mario 64, GoldenEye, things like that. And I don't know, the whole platformer just doesn't do well in a 3D space to me. Like, I can go back and play Super Mario 1, 2, 3, Super Mario World. I can go back and play Metroid. Though all those games just still hold up. But man, this era of gaming, like the PlayStation 1 era to the PlayStation 2, like that whole 5 year period from like 96 to 2001, right when the Xbox came out. Like, that era of gaming is just so rough.
yeah, you go back and look at the graphics for the original Crash game, and man, it is tough to look at.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of polygons.
Yeah.
Now, the remastered trilogy looks fantastic, but I mean, even if you go back and play Crash 2 and 3, They're a little rough on the eyes, but not nearly as much as the original one.
Yeah. Rampage is right, though. Those Crash Bandicoot commercials with the guy in the costume, those were funny commercials. I love
Yeah, I
those
was about to bring
commercials.
that up.
It was outside the Nintendo, uh,
Yeah,
yelling with the bullhorn. Those commercials were really good.
I'll have to look some of those up after we're
Yeah.
done. I almost forgot about those, but no, those were great. But to talk a little bit about what the game is about, so in a Southeast Australian archipelago, hopefully I'm saying that right,
Yeah.
doc,
Something like that.
Dr. Neocortex and his assistant Dr. Nitrous Brio use a device called the Evolvo Ray to mutate the various animals living on the island into beasts with superhuman strength. They experiment on Crash, a peaceful bandicoot who Cortex intends to be the leader of his growing military of animal
Wait a minute.
soldiers.
A bandicoot is an actual thing? I thought that was made
Hmm.
up. A group of
No,
more than
bandicoot's a real animal.
20 species of small to medium sized terrestrial marsupial omnivores. I learn something new every day. I never knew a
Yeah.
bandicoot was an actual thing. I thought it was his name.
Hmm.
Huh, that's weird.
No,
I'm an idiot. Keep going.
no, you're good. No, so it's interesting because I feel like Australia has the most interesting like animal kingdom
Yeah,
because
everything's
you have
trying to
like
kill you.
yeah, well you have the unique animals like the bandicoot. Like I didn't know until I was a little bit older that an echidna was actually a real thing.
Yeah, I do
I
know
always thought
that's
that,
real.
yeah, I always thought Knuckles was just like a made up animal.
Have you seen those things? What are those things called? The little smiley face, oh god, quokkas? Is that what they're called? Are those from Australia?
It doesn't sound familiar.
Let me look this up real quick.
Yeah, I'll keep going. All right, so despite Brio's warnings, Cortex subjects Crash to the untested Cortex Vortex in an attempt to control him. The Vortex rejects Crash, allowing him to escape. After Crash leaps out a window and falls to the ocean below, he prepares a female bandicoot named Tawna for experimentation, who is also Crash Bandicoot's girlfriend. So essentially, what you do is you go through these different islands in Australia to try and rescue your girlfriend from Cortex. And throughout the game, you fight different animals that Cortex has experimented on. So you have Ripperoo, who's a kangaroo who's gone completely insane
I
because he
just
actually wears a straight jacket, which I think is kind of funny.
oh yeah. I
You
put
fight.
the animalfactguide.com Kawaka in the Twitch chat if you want to take a click on that and see what a Kawaka is.
Rampage says, just an FYI, Tasmanian devils are real too.
Oh, I know. I'm not that stupid.
But I will give the game this. Even though it has an island setting, it does have good variety when it comes to levels, which I like in a platformer game because I remember that was one of my big critiques with Mario Sunshine is that everything had to deal with some type of tropical element where I just felt like I was going to like 7 or 8 different islands that were kind of the same thing. But with this, you have jungle levels, you have indoor temple levels, outdoor temple levels. There's one level where you ride a warthog, which is really cool. But it's got enough variety to keep you entertained. If you like a good platformer, I would definitely check it out. Play the remastered trilogy because 2 and 3 honestly are much better games.
Mhm.
Going back and playing the first one is fun too, but the sequels just add so much more variety, kind of like Mega Man 2 and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
You get different abilities, you have more collectibles, the levels are more fun. But all in all, it's not a terrible game. It's really not. It's not my favorite game, and it's still my least favorite of the Crash trilogy. I am curious to see what they do with the new one, which, believe it or not, it only comes out in 3 months,
Really?
which is kind of nuts. Yeah, they announced it for early October.
Have you played Uncharted 4? Because there
I
are
was
yeah, you
I
get
was
to
going to bring
play
that up.
yeah, you get to play the original Crash Bandicoot within that game.
Hmm. Yeah, because Uncharted was made by Naughty Dog,
Mm-hmm.
who also created Crash Bandicoot. I haven't ever played any of the Uncharted games. I know I really need to, but I have watched that scene on YouTube, and it's great.
Yeah,
Because
that was a
one of my
good
good
game.
friends, he's a huge Uncharted fan, and I told him, that I was going to be reviewing Crash Bandicoot, and he's like, "Oh, did you know about the Uncharted Easter egg?"
Mm-hmm.
And right before that, I had watched the YouTube video, so it was a cool little thing.
Yeah, it's crazy to see how Naughty Dog, they started off with the Crash Bandicoot series and ended up making the Uncharted series. Without a doubt, one of the greatest story, like not more of a interactive movie than anything. Like those games is crazy.
Did you ever watch the Uncharted fan film
Yes, I did with
with
Nathan
Nathan
Fillion.
Fillion?
Holy crap, I want that movie.
I don't know why they don't just do that.
Because they're stupid.
Like they keep talking about, oh, we want to do a young Nathan Drake movie with Tom Holland, which I think he'd be great at it, but
I don't want a young Nathan Drake movie. I want an older, beaten down Nathan Drake that's like ready to retire, and has to go on one last adventure, and then do 3 movies where he's always on his last adventure and keeps getting pulled in because he can't stop.
yeah,
Nathan Fillion's perfect at that.
that fan film was so freaking good.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. But all in all, like I don't have a ton more to say about the Crash Bandicoot games other than it's a good platformer. It's not great. I do have fond memories of playing the Crash Bandicoot series, but more specifically 2 and 3 because to me they're just better games. And if I ever want to go back and play a Crash Bandicoot game, it's not going to be this one. That being said, if you want to try out a good platformer, I would check it out. If you're like a PlayStation nut, I think you got to have the Crash trilogy
Yeah.
in your collection. But it is my least favorite of that franchise. But it was one that I was happy to go back and actually beat.
I think if I was to get an original PlayStation 1, the 3 games that I would have for it would definitely be Crash Bandicoot, um, Twisted Metal, and
Yep.
The original Resident Evil.
I
Those
would agree
3
with that.
games. I think that when I think PlayStation 1, those are the games that readily come to mind.
Yeah. But as far as the reception of the game goes, it received generally favorable reviews from critics, with much of the positive comments going to the graphics. Ironic saying that now.
Yeah. 25
Uh,
years later.
yeah, Dave Halverson of GameFan referred to the visuals as the best graphics that exist in a game,
Hmm.
and the design and animation of the title character as 100% perfection.
Hmm.
I mean, I like the design of Crash Bandicoot. I like the design of the levels, but I mean, I guess if you think about it as when it was made,
Yeah.
you tend to look at it a little more favorably.
Well, honestly, I mean, looking at some of the screenshots now, and the only time I've really played this game in the last 25 years is on Uncharted 4. The graphics aren't that bad for the time. I mean, they're not
No.
great, but you go back and look at some of the stuff from that period. This is some of the better looking stuff from the period.
Yeah, it hasn't aged well, but if you compare it to when it was made and what else was made around that time,
Yeah.
yeah, I would say that. Also, Staff Sergeant Sketch says his 3 games would be Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9.
Oh, Lord. You're banned. How do I ban somebody from the chat room?
Oh, man.
And Rampage also said that his just says to tell you, since you play Animal Crossing, that owls aren't actually afraid or disgusted by bugs. Okay, yes, I'm an idiot when it comes to Australian animals. I don't know, but I do know that owls are not afraid. Is it just me, or is Blathers just like, he bugs me? Like, well, you don't play Animal Crossing, but I just want him to shut up. Like, I just want to go in the museum, give him my crap, and I don't want to have to go through 8 pages of dialogue every time I talk to him.
I'm excited to find out who that is in a couple of years.
Oh yeah, well he runs the museum, and like every time you go in there, like you have like 8 pages of dialogue you got to get through before you can have your stuff assessed.
I hate that.
And then you can't like skip it at all. And then you give him your stuff, and he's like, "Would you like me to tell you about these items?" I'm like, "No, I got shit to do."
Let's see. Rampage also says koala bears are real too.
Yeah, I know that. Drop bears. They're drop bears. Oh, and they have chlamydia, so you don't want to have them bite you or scratch you or anything.
I was not expecting to hear the word chlamydia on this podcast.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It.
Like, all the koalas in Australia have chlamydia.
Is that an actual thing?
Yeah, like they have chlamydia. So I don't think they'll bite you. I don't think that you can really. It's easy to get it from them, but I'm sure you can.
I will say this. Another thing that I did like about Crash Bandicoot, it did educate me on Australian animals. Because I didn't know what a bandicoot was. Because in this game you fight a kangaroo, you fight a muscled up koala bear. I don't remember what type of animal Pinstripe was. Let me look that up real quick.
Yeah, we had a debate last night at the open mic about whether or not I could take on 5 kangaroos if they decided to attack the U.S. like kangaroos for some reason. And I don't know how we got on that subject, but I think I could. It's like 5 kangaroos to every 1 person or something like that. I'm like, I think I could take out 5 kangaroos.
Yeah.
It's a stupid conversation, but you know.
Oh, we have a new animal. So Pinstripe he's like a mafia boss type of animal that you have to fight in the game.
Ah, okay.
Let's see. Don Pinstripe Patoro is a Patoro subjected to the Evolvo Ray to be Dr. Cortex's bodyguard. What is a Patoro?
A Patoro. Where do you see that at?
P-O-T-O R-O-O.
P-O-T-O-R-O-O. Potteroo.
Oh, Potteroo.
It's so cute.
Yeah.
Australia has some cute animals, but they all try to kill you. I'm sure this thing has some sort of like stinger tail or something on it.
It would kill you in like 30 seconds. Oh, I learned something new too. I had no idea what a Potteroo was.
Did you ever look up that quokka? Q-U-O-K-K-A. Look how cute it is.
K-K-A. Kawaka. Okay, I want one of these.
Yeah, me too. I just want him running around my house smiling at me.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great. But yeah, I would overall, as I said, Crash Bandicoot, good game. I like the sequels better. So if you want to play a good Crash Bandicoot game, I think Crash Bandicoot 2 would be the ideal one that I would recommend.
Is that part of the Insane trilogy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say do that.
Cortex Strikes Back. But overall, I would give this game, I'd say a 7.
Good C.
Yeah. It laid the foundation for the sequels, but
yeah,
as I said, Crash is one of those things that I loved the games as a kid, but playing them as an adult, it just didn't have that same, like, you know, my fandom for Mario and for Sonic traveled with me from my childhood to my adulthood.
Yeah.
Crash didn't really do that.
Maybe.
But still a fun game to go back and play.
Maybe if I'd have been, 10 years younger or 8, 9, 10 years younger, maybe Crash would have been, I would have felt some nostalgia for Crash or anything. But, I grew up with it and solidly in the Mario Sonic era. So Crash came along way after that was already established. So it just kind of felt like, meh, this isn't going to last.
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you.
Then, of course, Master Chief comes along in 2001, and I'm like, oh, now this is a mascot.
Master Chief. At some point, we got to do, well, we could do it next year because it's the 20-year anniversary of the original Halo.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to bring, like, because you had mentioned Wally and I had mentioned Robbie. I would love to bring the two of them on the show and we just talk Halo stories.
Yeah, I'm down for that. I would love to play Halo again, but I actually want to get, if I can find one, I want to get an original Xbox because there were so many good games for the original Xbox that I still want to play.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
I couldn't
Halo
tell you the
2,
last time I've turned on an original Xbox or held one of those controllers.
Dude, it's been so long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I traded mine in to get a 360, so.
Now, the 360, that's one of my favorite consoles of all time.
Yeah. But I would have still had mine, but I gave it to one of my nephews, and, he's autistic, so I'm never going to ask for it back. He loves playing it, so I'm like, it's yours now.
Yeah. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the original Crash Bandicoot.
All right. Well, next week, I honestly have no idea what I'm doing next week. I don't know.
So I already know what I'm going to do. So in conjunction, because I think it's next week that the new Paper Mario comes out.
Yeah.
So in 2 weeks, I will be reviewing the original Paper Mario for N64.
Cool. Yeah,
I'm stoked to go back and play.
There's a couple of 8-bit looking indie games on the Switch that I've got saved that I want to buy. I may do that. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. So
you'll have to come back next week and find out.
Yeah, you'll have to find out next week, people. You just have to wait. But that's pretty much does it for the show this week. That was a fun show.
Yeah.
Anything you would like to say to the people before we leave this evening? Anything they need to follow you for?
So actually, this upcoming Sunday, I will be doing another Facebook Live interview for the Derek Diamond Experience. And this is one that I think you'll like too, because I will be interviewing someone who has been very instrumental in both of our filmmaking careers, and that is the great Steve Wise.
Love talking.
We will be talking all things screenwriting. So if you're a fan of writing or an aspiring screenwriter, definitely check that out. It's going to be on Facebook Live this upcoming Sunday at 6 p.m. Central Time. You can follow me at facebook.com/DDiamondPodcast. That's where it'll be broadcast. I'm also on Twitter and Instagram at DDiamondPodcast as well.
For me, the only thing I really got going on is trying to do some more streaming on the Twitch here. I really want to be a part of the Ninja Gaiden Knockout Tournament next year. So I'm going to be practicing Ninja Gaiden at least 2 to 3 times a week over the next year. So if you want to just join me while I practice for a few hours a couple nights a week, just be right here. And we're usually do, the Nerd Cave Retro every Wednesday at 7:30. Open micers every Thursday at 7. And I usually stream on Sundays 4 to 6 or 4 to 7, whatever game I'm going to either be reviewing that week or whatever. So I'm not sure what I'll be doing Sunday. But if you want to just kind of hang out with me while I practice Ninja Gaiden, just join me here on the Twitch channel. And I think that's pretty much it for the week. Unless you got anything else, I'm ready to walk out the door.
Nope, I'm all good.
Let me turn on our music here. If you would like to email us, you can email us at nerdcaveretro@gmail.com. And by the way, thank you guys for submitting stories for us over the last month or so. Keep doing that. It makes my job easier. You can find us at nerdcaveretro.com. We're on Instagram and Twitter at Nerd Cave Retro, and individually at JayFunktastic and at Derek_Diamond. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/NerdCaveRetro, and also on Patreon at patreon.com/NerdCaveRetro, where you can go over there right now, and the Double Dragon commentary has been made public, so you can check that out. But if you want to get it when it comes out and not have to wait, you got to give us at least $1 a month, and we'll keep doing those commentary tracks for you. But if you can't do that, I know times are tough. Can't give us a couple of bucks, leave us a review wherever fine podcasts are given away for free. So Derek, please tell them what it's all about.
May the way of the hero lead to the Triforce.
Yes.
You blew it!
That was a fun show. I like that.
Yeah. Still solid connection too. The music didn't break up at all.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching I've been trying to watch the Twitch stream, and it stops every once in a while, but it seems to be holding pretty steady. So I think I'm gonna keep these settings right where they're at for now, unless they start lagging out again, and then I'll try to change it up a bit.
Yeah.
But Rampage, Staff Sergeant, all you guys that joined us tonight, thank you for hanging out with us in the chat room tonight. Love it when you guys are here.
Gotta love interaction.
Awesome. Said it sounded good. And oh, there's Mixmaster. Are you just here? Are you just now getting here? We're leaving.
We have one from out the door.
Yeah, we're about to leave. I'm sorry, man. You missed it. But it'll be up on YouTube in a few minutes, or you can listen to it tomorrow morning. And I got to get going so I can edit this thing up, and I have some gumbo waiting for me. And
gumbo.
I'm ready to go eat. So good night, you guys, and be here tomorrow night for the Open Micers podcast at 7 p.m. Central. Goodbye.